Hi, hello, my name is Gomer Joseph. I hope we've all been having a great day so far. Welcome back to another True Crime Tuesdays video. If you are new, I welcome you. Before I discuss today's case, I'd like to mention my Christian suspense book series, which is Never As It Seems. The first book in the series is available on Amazon, and you can read it on any device on the Kindle app for free. If reading really isn't your thing, then no worries. There is now a Never As It Seems podcast, which has new episodes every Friday if you love listening to audiobooks or podcasts. Not only that, but I have another book series, which is the Juliet Clark book series, which is about a Haitian American teen sleuth who happens to be a successful true crime YouTuber. The first book in the series is titled Murder at Heart, so if you are interested, the links will be in the description box below. Today I'll be discussing a requested case of the mysterious death of Tamla Horsford. Not only was this case heartbreaking, but I found it to be confusing and very unusual. It seems like the police just took the word of some people and decided that Tamla's case wasn't worth looking into. What I found was pretty eerie, and it's a shame that what was supposed to be this social gathering pretty much ended with Tamla unexpectedly losing her life. Now, I encourage you all to do your own research with this case and not to just look at my video for all of the information. Here we go. Tamla Horsford was born on October 10th, 1978 in Kingstown, St. Vincent to Kirtland St. Jor and Elizabeth Potts. I do know that Tamla had a sister named Summer, and they did move to the US at the time that Tamla was 11 years old. Now, later on in life, Tamla married a man named Leander. They did have 5 sons together, but she did help raise his oldest daughter that he had from a previous relationship, and the daughter's name was Akishma. So the sons that they had together were Jaden, Peyton, Gavin, Braden, and Mason. Tamla was described as a woman who was amazing, a beautiful soul, this ray of light who put others first. She was compassionate. She stood up for others. She was this active mom. She served her community well, very supportive, welcoming. She was easily able to make friends. Tamla was the life of the party, vibrant. She loved spending time with her family, loved going to the beach and dancing, and desired to bring joy to those around her. On November 3rd, 2018, Tamla is 40 years old at this time, and she and her family are living in Cumming, Georgia. Now, Tamla arrives late at night to this slumber party, which she initially didn't even want to go to, but she didn't want the group of women to think that she had issues with her, so she just decided to just go anyway. This slumber party was hosted by a Jean Myers with a group of women. Now you might be wondering why like a group of older women are pretty much having a sleepover. So pretty much they all knew each other because their sons played in the football league, and they knew that drinking alcohol was going to be involved. So the host, Myers, did not want people to just, drink, and she didn't want her guests to drink and then drive a bit afterwards. She just wanted people to just go ahead and sleep it off so they can go ahead and go back to their homes later the next day. And again, Tamla, she didn't really, have this very close relationship with them. She was just really beginning to know these women. So at this slumber party, they watched football, played card games, and drank alcohol. Once again, this is a slumber party. This is a sleepover. So what I couldn't understand was why 2 men were in the house. Now, usually when you're an adult and your kids have a slumber party, the dad and mom, I mean, obviously they can't be kicked out, but they can just be somewhere where they won't be noticed. But this sounds like a girls' night in. So I don't understand why you would need two men when all you need is your husband. But Myers, the person she was living with wasn't even her husband. But you just have this significant other staying in a place where he's not noticed if he does actually live there, if that makes any sense. According to Tamla's husband, Leander, she wouldn't have gone if she knew men would even be there, because she would have not gone there with men present without her husband. So it's 2 a.m., and of course, this is another day. Officially, it's November 4th. People at the sleepover stated that they saw Tamla go to the porch and smoke a cigarette. According to these witnesses, this is the last time that Tamla is unfortunately seen alive. So at 8:45, Jean Myers' aunt, she's waking up and she's making breakfast, but she notices Tamla lying motionless under the porch. You would think that she would immediately call 911 or ask all of the other people in the house to get help. Now, here's the thing about all the other people in the house. Like, there were some women who did leave. They still left that night, but I believe that their, significant others were the ones who picked them up. But, you see that there's this woman who's not moving, not breathing, so you would want to get her help as soon as possible. The thing is that 911 wasn't called until 15 minutes later, and the call was made by Myers and her boyfriend, Jose Barrera. They mentioned on the 911 call, they mentioned that there was a small cut on Tamla's wrist, and they claimed that Tamla did it to herself. And Myers mentions that Tamla must have fallen. And listening to the call, they're pretty calm about Tamla possibly being dead. Now, I get that they barely know one another, but still, this is a human life that we're talking about. You don't just talk about her possibly being dead without some sort of plea to sustain her life. Like, they just really sounded like they really had they had no form of emotion while calling 911 to see if Tamla can get any sort of help. Back to the fall. So Tamla, again, she's last seen standing on the porch, and as she's on the ground, it's pretty much 14 feet away from the ground. And I really hate to see this in case anybody that Tamla cared about is watching this video, but people who fall from that sort of height, knowing that there's no safe landing, I mean, I would assume that they would usually scream, because that would be this natural reaction. And you mean to tell me that nobody heard Tamla possibly scream as she fell? Now, the police did arrive, but the thing about the police was that they knew Jose since he was an officer, and sadly, Tamla was pronounced dead on the scene. But the weird thing is that before an autopsy was even done, Tamla's death was ruled an accident without them digging any further, and didn't even interview the witnesses right away. Of course, her family had to be informed, but the disheartening thing about her family being informed, the police told her husband without any form of sympathy at all. They're just like, yeah, are you this person? Yeah, your wife's dead. Like, that's how they said it, without any form of, like, getting him to process it. They just bluntly just told him, hey, your wife is dead. And I mean, it's just very disheartening that they told him such shocking, heartbreaking news so nonchalantly. Eventually, the autopsy was done, and it showed that there were high alcohol levels, and this was kind of inconsistent with what the photos, videos, and statements showed about Tamla, because according to those, Tamla didn't even appear as drunk as the autopsy was stating. not only did the autopsy state that she had this high level alcohol in her system, but it showed this dislocated wrist, a broken neck, and heart lacerations. There were also cuts on her arms and legs. But I mean, again, I'm not the best at science, but I'm like, how exactly do cuts, cuts, like she didn't like fall on like a branch or anything, like she fell onto the grass. Like, I mean, if you guys are better at science, like please let me know in the comment section. Like, is it possible for like cuts to be on your body when you fall that high onto the grass? Not only that, but Xanax and marijuana were found. Now, as for the marijuana, it wasn't really, that much of a surprise to her family, since her family knew that Tamla would smoke marijuana, but the fact that she had Xanax was just a bit troubling for them to hear, because according to her family, Tamla would have never partied that hard with people that she barely knew, especially being the only black woman at the slumber party. There were also bruisings on her face and other bruises all over her body, which her family doesn't believe would have been caused by a fall. 3 months after Tamla's death, specifically, February of 2019, Jose Barrera illegally accessed records to Tamla's case. And, once again, this Jose is an officer, like he knows he's not supposed to do this, and obviously he ended up losing his job when he was caught. But his excuse was that he was curious. But you were supposedly, I mean, not supposedly, but you were there. And why would you just be curious about her death when you were there? Because if Tamla's death was this accident that you claimed it was, then why go through all of that trouble through illegally accessing these legal records? So back to the autopsy. Tamla's family wasn't here for it, so they were able to get a second autopsy done, which showed that she had a fractured wrist and a dislocated spine, but there were no traumatic injuries to the skull, and there were, a lack of broken bones, making the person who performed the second autopsy, whose name is Dr. Schaefer, he believes that it's possible that the fall wasn't even what killed Tamla, which is very chilling to hear. When this story first broke out, it didn't really gain much attention until celebrities caught wind of it. And because celebrities helped bring attention to this case, it influenced the department to reopen it. But last year, despite all of the sketchy, confusing details, Tamla's death was still determined to be an accident. It's been almost 4 full years since Tamla has been gone. From what I've gathered, there's this big hole in the lives of her family and loved ones without her. Again, it's such a tragedy that Tamla expected to be home the following morning, but ended up losing her life in such a random, strange way. And if Tamla's life was unjustly taken, the God that I serve, the God of the Bible, he is a God of justice, and he will make sure that justice is served. I thank you all for taking the time in your day to watch this video. If you did like this video, please feel free to hit the like button. If you have any thoughts on this case at all, please leave your thoughts in the comment section below. And if you'd like to see more videos from me, please feel free to hit the subscribe button and click the bell to be notified about the next video. If there's a certain true crime case that you'd like me to cover, go ahead and let me know. I will see y'all for the next True Crime Tuesdays, and I will talk to y'all later.